Hey everybody, what is up? This is Devin LaVore coming at you. Huge thank you to those who gave to us to be able to help celebrate my little guy's 8th birthday. It was phenomenally way more awesome and prophetic than I could have ever imagined. It was really, really good. He's 8 years old, and I tell you what, it was absolutely a prophetic celebration for new beginnings. It really was, and so we really thank you. And so if you guys would like to give, there's Cash App, Venmo, PayPal links below for those who don't know that. And we appreciate anything that you can give to us, anything that you'd be willing to do to support what we're doing and what God's doing with us and through us, okay? Now, I would like to get right to this. Like, oh my gosh, how do I... You ever get to a point, and I'm sure for those of you who've walked with the Lord enough, you've gotten to this point a lot, where you're just empty, right? You're just empty. And you have literally nothing. You have nothing to give. This is just what I felt like the Lord wanted me to share. You have nothing to give. You're completely empty. And it's a very interesting thing, because sometimes that emptiness, it assaults your self-worth, right? Sometimes that emptiness makes you feel like you have no value, nothing to offer, so therefore, what good am I? But here's the thing about being empty. It is a great place to be, because when you're empty, it gives the Lord a chance to fill. Sometimes I think the Lord allows us to be empty for a while as a testing ground to see if we're going to go seek something to fill us up and try to satisfy us in some other way, instead of just sitting before the Lord and waiting for Him to speak and waiting for Him to fill. And sometimes for some people, that's a whole season of their life. They're just going through this emptiness, and they just feel like day after day after day after week after month, they're just feeling so empty. And they do life, but then they just feel empty. And they're just crying. They're even crying out to the Lord. They're doing everything they know to do, and they're even standing after you've done all you know to do. Stand. And they've done that for a long time, and they just still feel empty. Well, here's the thing. I just feel like the Lord's showing me this thing where even in your emptiness, it's almost like an aged bottle of wine. The longer it just sits there and does nothing, the better it gets. The longer that you continue to seek the Lord and rest in His presence and just walk through that place of emptiness, the more there's an unseen expansion of your heart happening. It's like it's almost like when you put money in a mutual fund. You can't see it, you don't know what it's doing, but you do know that it's growing. So it's like you got to know that sometimes in those places of emptiness, you're still growing in the Lord, because you're still alive in the Lord. The Spirit of God is still in you, and He is expanding your capacity for what He's going to fill at the proper time that He's designated, because He knows your capacity. He knows what you're capable of, and He knows what He wants to do through you. And so sometimes we have to go through these periods of emptiness, because it's prophesying a future filling. Amen. Your emptiness is prophesying a future filling. So don't be so hasty and quick and in a hurry to get, comfort and jollies and, all of that. Sometimes you just got to sit in the difficulty that God has for you, because it's prophesying a future glory that He has for you. Think about sowing. When you're sowing and sowing and sowing and sowing and sowing and sowing and sowing, and you're not seeing anything, that lack of seeing anything is prophesying a future glory of a harvest, because you cannot sow without reaping eventually. You can't. It's biblical. God said so. If you continue... So for those of you who are sowing much into people's lives, whatever it is you're sowing, sometimes you're sowing your presence in their life. Sometimes you're sowing money, sure, but sometimes you're sowing time, you're sowing words of encouragement. All the sowing you're doing is going to reap a later harvest, but that you may not be experiencing right now. You know what I'm saying? And there's going to come a time where God says, okay, ring, ring, harvest time, you know? And so don't let the place of emptiness or not feeling God. You know, some of you have not been feeling God. You want to feel the Lord. You want to have that intimacy restored. God took me through a not feeling his presence for 2 years. He told me it was going to be 2 years too. He's like, yeah, I'm going to feel my presence for 2 years. I was like, oh, and you have to understand, I was just coming off of an amusement park time of feeling the presence of the Lord in everything. Prophesying was as easy as drinking water, you know, and seeing visions and hearing from the Lord. And he's like, okay, we're going to dial this down and we're going to completely dry out for 2 years. I didn't even know what that meant, but it was prophesying a future glory, a future deeper level of relationship that I could not have had I not gone through that process, you know? So do not be discouraged with whatever you're going through, whatever you're going through. Do not be discouraged if it's not working out just yet, or it's not harvesting just yet, or it's not popping just yet, because whatever it is that's happening in your life is prophesying a future glory that he has for you. Amen. All right. Well, I hope that blessed you guys. And until next video, bye-bye.